What's going on, guys? And today is Tuesday, so that means that we're going to be doing our top 10 teams in the NFL this week. And this week is one of the hardest weeks for me because I genuinely don't know who to put on the top 10 for at least the first three spots of 10, 8, or 10, 9, and 8. And then after that, it just gets weird. But let's jump right into where we are right away. Starting in at number 10, we have a shocking team that I didn't expect to put on here ever at all. But I guess that's what this season is. We have the Atlanta Falcons, and on Sunday, the Atlanta Falcons did play an injured team, but there were so many teams on here that I could have put, or that I was deciding to put on, whether it would be the Steelers, but I didn't think that they deserved it. The Buccaneers don't, I think, deserve it because they got destroyed by the Steelers defense. I don't know what's happening anymore. I have the Falcons here because I just think that overall Marcus Mariota has been playing very serviceable for the Falcons, and I think that while their defense is not the greatest and this team in general is not the best, I think that they can be moving on to this list later, and they might even be a sneaky playoff team like the Panthers were supposed to be. Moving on to number 9, we have a team that I think still deserves to be on this list, but just some of the teams on this list I feel like are a little bit better, and I honestly probably could move it around. We have the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think that they're the worst team in the league. Obviously, I think their defense has carried them to a 4-2 record. I do understand how people can be mad at this list that I have, to where maybe certain player or certain teams should be off the list. But yeah, for right now, I have the Cowboys at number 9. Cooper Rush had 3 interceptions on Sunday Night Football to the Eagles defense, and I just feel like I don't trust the Cowboys as much as other people do. I think their offense is kind of mid, which I think is a very base take, while their offense or their defense is one of the best in the league. Yeah, I'm just going to stick with the Cowboys at number 9 for right now. Moving on to number 8, we have a team that I wasn't expecting to drop at all, but they super disappointed me, and they dropped 2 spots from last week's ranking, and I have the Chargers. They played one of the worst games I've ever seen on Monday Night Football, but I feel like every game that the Broncos are in is going to be one of the worst games I ever watched for primetime. Justin Herbert's still playing like a top 5 or top 3 quarterback in the league. Your choice on which one it is, but he is for sure playing like a top 5 quarterback. Austin Eckler still playing like a really good back. The wide receiver core still playing good. The defense still playing good. They just couldn't stop the Broncos from kicking field goals at all. And also, they had a little bit of controversy at the end of the game, which I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but yeah, I'm gonna for now stick with the Chargers at the number 8 spot. I feel like they could eventually move up again, but they need to make some improvements badly. Moving on to number 7, we have a team that I mentioned last week, and it did say that if this team beats the Packers this week, that they will be on this list, and I think that they're right now playing better than the other 3 teams that I have on this list. I have the New York Jets. I did not expect to put the Jets on this team, but they have been making a lot of really good strides. They have Breece Hall, who's really good at rookie running back. They have a very good offensive line and defensive line. They have a very good secondary. A wide receiver core that's been improved a lot. They have who I thought was wide receiver 1 last year in the draft, and Garrett Wilson, actually playing really well. Yeah, I don't know where to say. They stopped the Packers from being able to do anything at all, and overall, I think that the Jets could be a very good team moving forward. Moving on to number 6, we have a team that most people think should probably be a little bit lower because they just keep blowing leads, and it's the Baltimore Ravens. I think that for right now, keeping the Ravens in the top 6 is viable. Lamar Jackson, no matter what people say on Twitter, which you might have noticed that I tweeted something earlier if you follow me, link down below if you don't, they say like Lamar Jackson only gets a pass because he's black or whatever. But no, Lamar Jackson is still playing very well. He did fumble the ball, which did cost him the game, but overall I think that I think that the Ravens are playing very good. Still, they just need to have their defense stop giving up leads. Moving on to number 5, again, we have a team that I mentioned last week that if they did fall, or if they did lose, that they would be falling, and they did lose. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, I still think are our top 5 team in the league, but I think that they're a much worse team than people are acting like they are right now. I do not think that they are, the worst team in the league, and I was very low on them coming into the season. I still think they'll win their division, but for right now, I feel like that they are just not a team that has the ability to win big games when it matters. The Bills did get their revenge, but at the end of the day, I need to see the Bills beat the Chiefs even more going into the playoffs. If the Bills beat the Chiefs in the playoffs this year, there's going to be a lot of contention on what's going to happen with the Chiefs. But again, like I said, Patrick Mahomes under center, your team will always be very good. Moving on to number 4, we have who I think is one of the weakest 5-1 teams out of the next 3. We have the Minnesota Vikings. While I do agree that they are a very good team and have the potential to be an even better team, while they have one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, I don't think that they're the best team. Looking at their schedule, I don't think that they have very much competition to play with. The only reason that they managed to score or be having contention of their division is because the Packers are imploding right now. But looking at their schedule, they just don't have that good of a schedule. They got blown out by the Eagles, and then they played the Lions, who I expected to be a lot better than they have been. Then they played the Saints, led by Andy Dalton, who missed a doink. The Bears, who have nothing. And then the Dolphins with a third-string quarterback and second-string quarterback. Looking ahead of their schedule, they have a rough game. On the 30th, they have the Commanders, and then they play the Bills, Cowboys, Patriots, Jets, and Lions again, and the Colts. I think that overall the Vikings are going to be a very good team in this league, but I don't think that they'll make a deep playoff run like everyone's expecting. But for right now, I will keep them at number 4. Moving on to number 3, we have a team that I, again, was not expecting to shoot up the rankings, but after they beat the Packers, I was really shocked that they managed to win, and it's purely on their coach. We have the New York Giants. Danny Dimes is playing like an absolute monster right now. Saquon Barkley is as well, and should for sure be getting some MVP votes this season. He's playing so well, and while their team is very weak, they're still managing to fight. They're just like the Falcons, but with a little bit better of a record. They're managing to stop almost any team who gets thrown at them, and I honestly think that we should be a little bit shocked if this team doesn't make a deep playoff run. And by deep, I think that they'll make it to the divisional round, and then they'll stop. The only loss they have so far is to the Cooper Rush-led Cowboys, whose defense absolutely destroyed their offensive line. And I think that they're going to give the team that I have at number 1, which if you've watched my videos the last couple weeks, you should know who's at number 1. I think that they'll give that team a little bit of troubles in the division. But for right now, I'm going to keep the Giants at 3, and I think that we could see them launch up depending on what happens. Moving on to number 2, we have the Buffalo Bills. An absolutely amazing win against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. So good. Their defense is playing very, very well, and I'm loving this team. Josh Allen has an amazing hurdle and is playing at an MVP-like level. And honestly, I don't know if the Dolphins were a team that just had a fluke win against the Bills or what's going on, because the Bills look almost unstoppable right now. And yeah, I just think overall Josh Allen is an MVP candidate and easily could win MVP. I was thinking that Lamar Jackson would be leading the league in MVP votes, but for now I think it might actually be Josh Allen. And this is a year where I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm hoping that he makes a deep playoff run, because he deserves a Super Bowl ring if there's anyone who does. And finally at number 1, again, I just said, if you've watched my last couple videos, you will know this team. It's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. This team destroyed the Cowboys. The score was so much closer than the game actually was. The defense was amazing. C.J. Gardner-Johnson hurt his hand and was expected to be out of the game for the rest of the game, and instead just came in and still had an interception and was managing to beat up on the Cowboys' offense. Overall, this team is very, very good, and they're still looking like a Super Bowl contender. I'm not sure if they'll make a Super Bowl, because looking at their schedule, it gets really difficult. But I'm very excited to see where this team goes in the future. Coming up, they have the Steelers on the 30th at home, and then they have the Texans, then the Commanders, who they'll probably sweep, then the Packers on Sunday Night Football after the Colts, the Titans, who they'll probably destroy, then the Saints, and they end with the Giants. Overall, I think that this team could go very, very far in the playoffs, and I think for right now, until they lose a game, I think that they're going to be my number 1 team in the league. And with that being said, that's going to be all I got for today's video. Here's my top 10 for anyone who hasn't seen it. Yeah, that's going to be all I got. Take it easy.